What? I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Indie Breakdown, the show that breaks down your favorite indie comic book characters, power stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an indie versus matchup. We are trucking through this season, okay? Well, minus the hiatus, but we're trucking through the season. We're on episode, I believe this is episode 37 already. So, anyway, without further ado, we have a very, very awesome guest that's about to be on for this one. Very excited. I'm going to bring him up. He's going to tell you guys, of course, obviously, who he is, the story that he's got, and the character specifically he's bringing to the breakdown. One moment, we're going to go ahead and bring our guy TJ to the stage. What's going on, man?
Yo, what up, Lloyd? Mike, good to see you, man.
Likewise, man. I know we talk off and on, but mostly only really see each other face to face at like BlurredCon specifically. So, no, very excited to chat with you outside of the convention circuit. So,
likewise, man. Y'all doing some great stuff, and I love the Midnight Comics channel. I love that it's a family business, and y'all just been killing it. So, congrats, and yeah, man. Happy to chat with you when we're not like when the con floor is crazy, because that's when it's hard to really dial in with your people. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's this going on, that going on. So when we get a chance to build like this, I love it.
Man, appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely, and likewise, dude. So, let the people know. Obviously, tell them the company, tell them the character, and a little bit about the story they come from.
Yeah, so everybody who's listening, my name is TJ Sterling. I'm the CEO, creative director over at Ray Media. We started about 10 years ago in the independent comic book space. I'm a former Marvel and DC guy. Did a bunch of stuff with them, when early in my career, and then really felt like time is one of those things you never get back. So I wanted to put all my energy into making my own stories, my own characters. And that's where the company was born. And it started with one book. The book itself is called Alchemist. It's a sci-fi martial art action, Super Sentai-esque type of story where a young kind of slightly overweight black kid named Cale Alonzo essentially has the only superpower he really has is his brain. He's intelligent. He's going to school for what is it? How am I spacing out? He's going to school at Purdue University for genetics. And when I wrote this story, I wrote and drew this story, actually. So the very first book I ever did was written and drawn by me. And I had some good folks like that helped me a little bit with the coloring and the lettering. Shout out to Deron Bennett of Van World Design and my coloring team. And yeah, like this character was so personal to me because I felt like what I was trying to tell was a story about what we all go through as young black men. You know what I'm saying? When you're growing up, you're kind of looked at differently, you're targeted, you're discriminated against in various different types of microaggressions and macroaggressions, whether it's in the educational space, whether it's in your workplace, whether it's in your neighborhood, wherever it may be. So I always thought, especially as a kid growing up in Michigan, racism was pretty crazy, you know what I'm saying? So my thought was like, okay, if I was a superhero, if I had powers, what would that look like? But then once I started thinking, what would it look like for all of us if we just started to we didn't want to take it anymore, you know what I'm saying? And like literally the sleeping giant awakens. So Cale is, again, young kid, doesn't know who his parents are. He's kind of orphaned and, went through the foster care system, has one best friend, Brianna Martinez. And as he's going to school, he's starting his first day at Purdue University. He's excited about his future. He's kind of basically looking forward to what, is in store for him, because he's like, hey, I've always wanted to learn about genetics. I always wanted to learn about science and expand my mind. So with that, he's just, again, a regular kid, no powers, no strength, no abilities. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 4 kind of Power Ranger-esque warriors that are actually the villains of the story come from the future looking for him, because apparently he's got a genetic anomaly that could potentially save their broken timeline. So as they start looking for him, they get a little closer. A calamity ensues where this main character starts to evolve before our eyes, and he actually kind of mutates because they're being next to him actually triggers this latent superhuman ability, this hidden dormant genetic strain. So he's kind of like a mix between the Abomination and the Hulk. And at his peak power level, he's unstoppable. I mean, he, could heal from bullet wounds. He could literally, beat anybody in a fight and heal instantaneously if he's injured in any way. So if the scale is 1 to 10, his strength level would be 10 for sure in his monstrous form. We call him Monster Cale in that particular form. And because this form is so, how do I put it? It's erratic, it's inconsistent, and it's not, he can't control it. He can't control his mind. He can't control. So he's also kind of like terrified. What do I do? How do I get a hold of this? Because I just thought I was a regular dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who my family is, but I still feel like a regular person until this thing happens. So now there's a battle between these 4 warriors from the future and this one lone kid. These authoritarian figures are on him, and he's fighting back and he's not taking nothing. So with that, he becomes almost an unstoppable force, but at the same time is overpowered by these warriors. And not to ruin the story, but I will tell you that someone close to him dies, one of his close friends, and that triggers an even deeper, even more powerful mutation, where before he was kind of just holding his own but slowly losing to these 4 warriors. Now he starts to dominate the fight, and that changes the scales in his favor, and that kind of like puts us to where we are right now within this 7-issue series.
Okay. So, well, you know what? I was going to say something that was almost spoilery, but we get a twist at the end. I won't spoil it, but we get an interesting twist at the end. And I was going to ask if we can cover both, but to your point, we want to make sure people are picking this up and reading. So we'll stick to Cale Alonso here. Proper.
I give a brief little introduction to about Okemos Dark History. So the way I wrote Okemos, I wrote it like a basically, it's missing a big chunk of description as to why he is the way he is. Because again, he's just a regular dude like you and me. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, college kid, just starting to feel himself a little bit like, hey, everything's cool. But what I wanted to do with Okemos Dark History was give people a glimpse into the world that his parents come from. So if you want to understand a little bit more about who Cale is, then you have an entire series. But the way I wrote it is you could either read Okemos Dark History as an origin story and then read Okemos Volume 1, or you could read Okemos Volume 1 and then go back to Okemos Dark History as a prequel. So it kind of is answering some of those questions. That's my personal favorite way to read it, because that's the way I wrote it,
Valid. No, I think I ended up when we got it from you, I think that was last year. We did the opposite. We did, all right, well, Dark Histories comes first, and then we kind of just transitioned right in. It was, oh man, regardless, it's good reading order regardless. So no, it fantastic job, by the way. So in regards then, to dive more into Cale really quick, his state of being, if we could talk about that a second longer. He is a regular person but has a genetic defect. Is there a specific name for that? Is there something specific kind of naming convention that you have for what he's become, or is that, again, we don't want any spoilers, but is there something that he could be called that sets him apart from humanity proper?
Yeah, I didn't, because a lot of times I get asked this question on panels or at cons, like, what is Cale's power? Because everybody think, oh, it's flight, it's super strength. And to me, like, I kind of got a little like political with it, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like all Black men, our power is the power to adapt and evolve. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's kind of metaphorically speaking, it's all of the things that you can think about in real Earth. 2026, we have the ability to adapt to anything, whether we're in Germany or whether we're here in the States, or whether we need to speak French, or whether we need to go back, to the motherland and do some stuff. Whatever it is that we need to do, we can adapt and move in any place, because again, we're the first people who ever were on this planet. So it's my way of kind of speaking to that fact and my personal beliefs about who we are as men and who we are as a culture. So Cale's superpower is adaptability, is evolution. And that's, so the gene itself, how do I put it without spoiling it, is that Cale's parents weren't born, they were created. So he was born, but they weren't. So that kind of makes it a very interesting thing. Like, what if two artificial humans have a real human? Will he be complete, or will he have missing pieces of his genetic code, or will there be more strains of genetic code that makes him a little bit more unique than others? Maybe he's really weak, but then, has the ability to become uber, like ultimate strong. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So, ooh, yeah, no, it does. Absolutely. So we're going to dive in then to stats proper. I want to know two things in regards to strength. And since he does have a two transformations, essentially, we'll dive into that. How heavy can he lift? Right? Like, what's he picking up and tossing? And then on the other side of that, how hard can he hit?
Oh yeah. So when I thought about this the other day, because again, this year, 2026, we're going to be releasing the final issue of Okemos, which is issue number 6. It's a 40-page book written and drawn by me, and it completes the volume 1. So everybody who reads volume 1, it takes you through issues 0 through 5. 6 kind of answers everything. So I had been thinking about the character. I've been thinking about him, and that's why I wanted to talk to him. I talked to you about him today because in his monster form, he can lift like 20 tons.
Okay.
So again, imagine a weakling kid with no abilities to even lift 20 pounds to go from that to
20 tons.
So that's his capped out at what his strength is before his second transformation. But at his second transformation, he does a lot less lifting and he's more feral. So he's like, his running speed is like 120 miles an hour. And but he doesn't necessarily need to run, because what he does is he can jump far distances. He can jump for yards and miles if he needs to with a long start. And we see a little bit of that in issue 4 when he's pursuing the hunters. He's literally leaping across cityscapes to go after them, and they're barely getting away. Punch, I mean, shoot, we haven't even. Oh man. If there was a punchometer, it'd have to be like a 10. It'd have to be like a solid, like if you get hit with this thing, it's like getting hit by the Hulk.
Okay. And so we did see, well, in comparison, I know we saw, I forget his name, but a gentleman, he almost seemingly referencing like a Kamehameha wave, like decimate a good portion of the city or what have you. If Cale in this transformed state was to say punch, maybe in that same kind of vicinity, would he knock down as many buildings? Would he level that city street to the same degree or even more?
Yeah, I would love to think that he could do that, but I didn't. When I first originally created him, I didn't want him to be a person that could completely destroy everything. I didn't want him to be full on Hulk or Abomination, but I definitely felt like if he hit a building hard enough, it could literally destroy a building. Not a city block, but at least one building.
Okay. I love to take notes. I go back, and for anybody that's watching, anybody that's new here, anything of that nature, that's watching this later. Obviously, I keep looking to the side. I'm taking notes. We do breakdowns following. We do our creator interviews, and then we do the breakdowns where I take all of this information that TJ is telling me here, and of course cross-reference with the book that we have, or both books that we have rather. Calculate everything, put together, and get a cool 30-second to minute long video specifically talking about the character. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be coming soon as well. So, so forget my looking to the side as we're talking. Just want to make sure I get everything down accurately here. Now let me ask this, because of course we do have two transformations for him. Have we been discussing the first portion of it in regards to the 20 tons and the building level destruction?
Yeah, we've been talking about transformation 1 and what we, again, pretty basic.
What we know so far.
Yeah, Monster Cale 2.0 is the version that, his he grows like 3 feet taller, bones and spikes and kind of things are start to, come out of his skull. So he's got a lot of doomsday vibes happening, but in this particular state, like there's no humanity, at least in his original monster form, 1.0. He still has a certain level of thought. He can still think, he can even still kind of, strategize a little bit. But 2.0, he's a complete abomination, if you will, where he can't discern right and wrong. He only sees a threat and does everything he can to neutralize said threat. But in this form, he's extremely vicious. The four hunters can't keep up with him. They get their tails whooped. Um, he was getting his ass kicked. Then he did the ass kicking towards the last part of the issues. But because there's an interesting twist, like he actually evolves into something else. And I think the whole goal that I'm trying to eventually get with the character is that his genetic code eventually has to stabilize and settle into something. And we do see that in issue 5 and 6.
Yes. Okay. So then, with that being said, which man, me and Tasha, I'm pretty sure we did a So shameless plug on the Midnight Comics side here. We had a show for a little while called What We're Reading, and we did a video, and we were talking about that twist at the end. Again, we didn't spoil it because we still want people to read it, but we were like reading through it. Of course, obviously, you know which character I'm talking about. We're like, I feel like that might be nah. It's like. Right.
Yep.
So it clicked, but then it was just like, the implications of, how we get from point A to point B is just like, just knock down something. How we get from point A to point B is just like, okay, I'm ready to see how we get. Anyway, spoilery territory, but no, outstanding job with that whole process there. But yeah, I'd peep what you're talking about here. But speed with 2.0, how fast is he? If 120 is around, and apologies, we're diving in deeper with these characters and stuff like that. 120 is the speed for first transformation.
1.
How much does that increase? 1.0. There we go. How much does that multiply when we're talking that second or the 2.0 Cale 2.0?
So I actually designed it to where because he got bigger and bulkier and was carrying more weight, even though he was stronger, he can't run as fast because he's carrying more stuff. So like actually his speed gets cut in half when, but he doesn't really need it, only because the jumping is what offsets it. So like if he gets a running start and he like leaps, that's what propels him from one place to another, and then he just kind of like catches a certain level of momentum, when he's like jumping on top of buildings.
And then, so 60 miles per hour, that's still, if you talk about something that's just barreling towards you and jumping all over the place, that's terrifying to even think about, considering, again, what you see and you guys will see the images and stuff accordingly, but how hulking this guy gets. Like, this dude is just a unit taking these guys out.
So, and because Cale's probably like maybe 5'10" when he's in his human form, but then 1.0 is like 6'3", and 2.0 is like 7 foot. Like he's like a big dude. And again, like if you're everybody's looking up at him because he's that, he's that monstrous at that point,
And you got to figure, and again, we mentioned it a second ago, but you're talking about characters that have the potential to level city blocks. Now getting their tail whooped by this character. So again, just talking about scaling wise, it's interesting to see how much this genetic defect essentially increases that strength, the height, the speed, jumping power, and all this other stuff against these well-trained, dare I say, hunters, if you would.
Yeah, so warriors. We see in 2.0 he has the ability to even kind of, because again his powers are, his genetic code is like erratic. There's nothing settled about it, and the mutation is still happening. He's kind of I guess evolving into newer abilities as he's engaging with the hunters. So there's some interesting scenes where he does some kind of like DBZ style like mouth blast, like where he's like, the energy inside he's been sucking up so much, energy from all the, the fighting and like he's been charged up like a battery, so that he can release it almost like a proton or like a laser blast, and that he doesn't do a lot of those, but like he does at least one of them, at the height of the battle in issue 4. So that's again a power he didn't even realize he had, but he's in this state not thinking he's only, in feral, feral mode where he's, just it's all survival, and now I'm just gonna kill these people that are trying to kill me type shit. That's it. Sorry.
Right. No. No, it's perfectly fine. This is this is definitely an adult show. It's all good. It's all good. In regards to that, because I do have a section here in regards to energy projection here. So outside of mouth blast, does he have any kind of other in either one of these states the ability to propel any additional energy attacks?
At one monster stage 1.0 and 2.0, he does not. I mean, again, it's literally because I felt like, if I to make him like uber powerful and unlimited would kind of ruin the surprises and the evolution of the character. Then it'd be like, he's got all these powers. What else can he do? So I do think that issue 4, we see the height of his power, and again, a lot of that is he's getting hit with energy blast. So the power to adapt and evolve is he can get hit with energy, and then he could even figure out a way to maybe redirect it. There's a scene where Massar, one of the hunters, is like hitting him, pow, 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 with like all of these, kind of like DBZ style key blast, because Cale jumps. He's running, and then he jumps up high because they're all on a train. And as the train's moving, he like lands on the back. And then, but the whole time he's midair, he's getting caught by these blasts from Massar. And then when he lands, that's when he sees them, and then he opens up his mouth and he redirects the energy. So, yeah.
And this is so for him, and this was 2.0 at this point, yeah.
Right.
So at this point, it's kind of just this innate thing. Like he doesn't have a mastery on it, but this is just something that I'm reminded of a first thing that came to mind. I don't know if this is a good one-to-one example, but I'm reminded of like Naruto, right? In that nine-tailed fox form. Naruto himself isn't necessarily controlling the actions here, right? When he's angry or stuff like this, the nine-tailed fox really guiding, kind of guiding that feral mode and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about that where it's just like, yeah, nine-tailed fox is running around how it is and shooting these mouth blasts. Same thing here. Cale's not thinking about this, but this is something that's just kind of innate. He's not, hey, I'm going to actively Super Android 17 is the other one I was going to think about. He's actively like, I'm absorbing this energy and I'm going to fire. And now I'm going to use that energy against you. So anyway, my two examples kind of popped up in my head just now. So
I like those.
Yeah.
No, those are dope. Yeah, he's in a space where, again, his conscious mind is not there, and I wanted to have two very different types of like thought patterns and like different ways of thinking between the character, the same character and his different versions, because in 1.0 form he starts to kind of learn a little bit about what the limits of his strength is, but again, because someone close to him passes away, he's overcome with rage, which creates again an even deeper, more powerful transformation. But in that state, it's very much feral, and I almost equate it to like intuition. Like if a human being, a man or a woman, they're in some type of a heightened situation, and they stop thinking and they just sense things. They start to feel it, and then it's all instinctual, because that's in our genetic code we got the mind and we got the body, right? So it's like the mind can control most of the body, but when the mind doesn't have time to react, the body knows how to react. It knows what to do. So that's kind of what I wanted to build with this character in those moments, that people were are reading in the book.
So valid. I wanted to. I have the answer to this question already, but I want to trust but verify here. We talked durability briefly earlier with that city level blast that he survived. Is that the upper limit? I mean, he easily got back up. What is the question I do want to ask is how much damage can he take at this stage of the story?
Yeah, well, what's crazy is that in his 1.0 form, he's taking quite a bit of damage. He's getting stabbed, slashed. He's, getting blown up. He's getting kicked and punched. Like he's really taking a lot of damage, and you can kind of slowly start to see him get a little bit stronger. Like, some of the bones start poking out. So like his skin starts to split because it's growing like an internal shield, if you will. So at the 2.0 stage, again, he's pretty unstoppable at that stage. Like, he can any type of damage he could probably take. I mean, maybe if he was hit with a nuclear warhead, then that might kill him, but everything else from electricity to fire to any of those things can really, really, really like they can't fuck with him. Like they can't do nothing with him in that state. That's why he's so feared by these warriors that were the oppressors and the antagonists. Like they literally are running scared at this point. Like they're like, okay, we can't. And we even have language to that in the book. Like they're surprised that he was this strong. They didn't know they thought it was gonna be an easy mission, in and out. You know what I'm saying? To the past and back. But
mistakes were made just now. No,
Right.
so now I have agility here, but by that I'm looking for now. Obviously, when he was in the air and he was getting hit with those blasts, there was nowhere for him to go for real. But say he's just kind of walking them down, and they're firing these blasts. Which I guess the question is, how fast are those blasts if you have that? But also, is he able to? Again, I say cautiously. Is he able to say dodge bullets, dodge these blasts, or is he able to kind of trajectory dodge it? Right. So, of course, I'm sure you know the meaning, but for anybody else, like Batman's not fast enough to dodge bullets, but he knows where somebody's aiming, so he can get out of the way. So,
Yeah.
in this case, is that what this monstrous version of Cale is able to do if he needed to dodge, or is it he's just that fast?
He can't dodge if he's just standing there. He can't do one of these,
Okay.
Goku,
Ultra instinct moves.
not that quick. Like he probably just would take. Like again, I wanted him. Because he's so hulking and monstrous at this state. Like he's slower, but like again, if you get caught by this dude, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Like so he can't. Yeah, he jumping would probably be the most that he would do. Jumping, punching again. Like you think about a feral animal or a feral child, like kicking and punching and screaming. That's pretty much what they do.
Lord. All right, feral. Okay. This is so for those of my notebook full of notes here, bro. I'm digging this character. So yeah. Do you have, and this is closer to the to wrap up stuff, but do you have a release date yet for this potential final issue of Alchemist?
Oh yeah. So guys, everybody who had a chance to back and support the Musa Line of Mali Kickstarter, I really appreciate just, for people who are watching it right now on February 10th, Tuesday at 5:35 p.m. My time in California, 8:35 p.m. your time. Got a message from the printer today. The books are being printed. They printed in Canada because they're hardcovers and they're literally going to be shipped to, me, and I should get them within a week or two. So I'll be fulfilling then. And I'm going to try my best to have some copies at BlurredCon. Now, I'm going to surprise y'all with a drop. Like I wasn't going to do a Kickstarter for Alchemist 6. The book is already drawn, written, colored. It's already lettered. Like we're just kind of doing some small edits right now. So that book's going to be available at BlurredCon. It's a 40-page finale. I'm calling it a volume 2 because it's like 40 pages plus like some additional art and stuff like that. So you're going to get a nice thick book that kind of completes that series, and then it opens up something else. So y'all going to get a new book at BlurredCon.
Okay. I'm excited because obviously, of course, yeah, we're going to be there too. So I'll definitely pick that up. Complete my my signed book collection here. So, okay.
Yeah, and issue 6 was a labor of love because it's probably got the most action in it. So, because when you're drawing, more monstrous characters, you can do things like a slash or a punch, or like you can stomp on a building or even on the ground and it's rubble destruction. But when it's like 2 characters, and because I'm leaning more into the Super Sentai Power Ranger-esque elements of it, there's more hand-to-hand combat in issue 6. Yeah. There's a lot more martial arts driven style action. So with that, I wanted to kind of do my best in bringing you something I'd never done before. So the book took a while to make. It took a while to draw. It took a while to write and feel good about it. So once it was done, I was like, man, I'm not going to make people wait with a Kickstarter. I just want to put this books in folks' hands. People have been asking about issue 6 for years because we dropped issue 5. Shoot, when was that? That might have been 2021, maybe
Oh, wow.
2020, 2021. We dropped issue 5. So, and a lot of things have happened since then. I mean, I
Yeah.
was, it was, and I'll just get personal with you because you're my boy. So, like, issue 5 drops. I'm doing the con circuit. I'm traveling around. You know what I'm saying? I had a bad breakup. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
with, a lady who wasn't bad, but like it was hard for her to understand the world and how I'm gone all the
Yeah.
time and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, there's that. And then I decided to move to LA and kind of expand my horizons. I've been in Michigan for 18 years, the New York, New Jersey area for 20. And I'm like, I've been on the Midwest, the East Coast. Now I want to try the West and see what's up over there. So then I moved as well. And then I dropped a couple of other books like Shattered Visions, which I'd love to come on and talk about
Yes.
later. Yeah, man, like it just was a crazy time. And I was like,
Yeah.
people been asking me for years, like, hey man, I'm ready to finish this series. So, but when you got to write and draw your own book, that shit is a lot.
Yeah, that sounds daunting in and of itself. So, okay. Well, no, man, we appreciate you putting that work in because, yeah, that story, again, when we read that, we had also gotten that Joystick Angels. We do have Shattered Visions as well. And, like, dude, y'all are definitely, like, one of the top, like, indie guys out there. Story Rise and stuff like that. When I finally read it, I was telling me and Tasha were both like, yeah, that kind of raised the bar. We got to step up a little bit, not to downplay anything that we have, but it's just like you, like some people got it. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know what to do in the story, how to letter the story, the pacing, what's the the page turners and stuff like that, double page spreads. Like it's when we first, I'll talk about us for a second, right?
Please.
We wrote the stories, right? And it was like, oh, this is great. But like thinking about like the pacing, right? Okay, yeah, sure, maybe the dialogue is fine, but oops, I didn't plan for a nice, explanation of something before we got to the big double page spread. Like sometimes it just fell flat, right? And to not glaze too much here, you don't have that issue in your stories, right? There, especially, oh man, obviously Dark History came after, so obviously there was learning and growth on your part through, and you could see it. You could see it. So anyway, throughout that, even the conversations and stuff, and I would love to talk about. I said Joystick Angels. That's not right. Yeah, that's yours.
Yes.
Not yeah. Goodness. But yeah, even there, you can see again pacing and all that other stuff. So no, fantastic job. Definitely one of the top guys in the space right now, man. So keep up the good work, and I'm looking forward to the latest book that you just dropped. So we definitely back that as well. So no, keep it up. You're doing fantastic.
Yeah, comics
I'm
is
sure
tough
this
work,
issue is going to be
bro.
worth the wait.
I think just for me, because it was comics was always my thing. As a
Yeah.
kid, like I just was like, hey, if I don't make video games, I'm gonna be a comic artist. Like I had two
Stop.
things. Yeah, that because what the crazy thing is that like I moved to the East Coast to go to college because they didn't really have a lot of resources in Michigan where I'm from. Like it just, again, at the time, the town was pretty dead. And this is 2001. We're talking about I graduated high school, the whole trade tower thing happened. So
Yeah.
world's a crazy place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Michigan didn't have the resources that I needed to become the artist I wanted to become. I had to learn and go to other places. So I'm like, hey, I know Marvel's in New York. I got to go there, and I had, went to school initially for game design. So I had learned 3D modeling, 3D animating through programs like Lightwave and Bryce, and then eventually 3D Studio Max. And I just was like, man, this is fun and everything, but like comics just kept calling my name, bro. Like I just feel it. Like this is because that's what I wanted to do as like a little boy. Like I always wanted to be a comic creator. I didn't want to do anything else. So I just been studying for years, like forever.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about, I went to my very first con in 2004, and I spent probably like like 5 to 6 years like going to cons, showing my portfolio, talking to artists, learning from seasoned creators that were really doing it. Buying a ton of stuff. I spent so much money back then, and I got fucking drawers and shelves still. Um, that I ain't got no more room for it now. It's all in storage, but like, just supporting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Indies and big two and any creator that I found that was really dope. And you know what I'm saying? Like you pick things up when you start to show your portfolio, when you're hungry to learn about the business and make great stories. So I think I attribute a lot of the learnings that I have, or the good stuff I'm making now, to that, because I just wanted to be a student, man. Like, I'm a 12-year martial artist as well. Like I did karate from the time I was, no, longer than that. Yeah, from the time I was 12 to like the time I still do it here and there, but like more on now I'm like strength training, weights and cardio. But back then it was still like 12 to like 26. I did martial arts, got my black belt, and my thing was like, the only way you get good at something is you're working at it every day. You got to draw every day. Got to write every day. You have to do it every single day, because that's the only way we got good in class. You know what I'm saying? Instead, because if you had a tough teacher, he'd beat you up. He'd punch you, hit you, kick you, and you're like, it's like, the only way to not get your ass kicked is to learn how to be stronger, learn how to be better, learn how to duck, dodge, punch, whatever. So a lot of that discipline factor came into how I made comics. Like, and even to this day, I'm like, I have a very regimented schedule. Work a specific amount in the morning, hit the gym, eat my food, watch a little bit of TV, just a little bit, and then I get back to work the rest of the night, talk to my lady before I go to bed, and then boom. And then that's my day every day. It's very regimented. But yeah, the structure provides progress, and it feels slow, but when you look at how fast a year passes, it's actually a lot. You know what I'm saying? So but hey, man, I mean, I would love to be able to put out a new book every month. You know what I mean? You think about Marvel and DC, you think about Image, even if you think about companies like what's the new joint that came out? The
one that's on Kickstarter right now, the Summit joint.
Well, not Summit, but they got like a yellow and black logo. They were partnering with Massive for a long period of time. It'll come back to me, but basically my point is that DC, Marvel, Image, these are companies that have Silicon Valley money, that have $1 billion things fueling them. Like they're treating comics like IP generation tanks. That's all that. Like, it's less about creativity and more about, hey, how can we make a story that we know is going to hit, so we can make a movie out about it, because that's going to make us the money, so we can pay all these people. So, but us as indies, we don't necessarily have that luxury. We got the dreams, we got the grit, we got the hunger, and that's all. That's usually enough. You know what I'm saying? But like, it'd be nice. I'd love to have a little bit extra cheddar so I could make books every month. That'd be great.
That's a goal. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so a goal. I did not realize we had so much in common, actually. So I initially also went to get in video game art and design. Unfortunately, I ended up at ITT Tech. If you know anything about the scam that is,
I remember.
Yeah, so that didn't pan out. I also did martial arts. I did karate at a young age, switched to taekwondo, and then back to karate. So very, very interested there. And obviously here we are in comics at the same time too. So I did not realize we had that much in common. That's crazy. Okay. But no, being a student and learning like that entire journey is crazy. And I am so grateful that we had the opportunity to meet so many of you guys along the way, right? It's only been 5 years, and again, to piggyback on what I was saying earlier, you can see that progress, right? Because we were, obviously we humbled ourselves, but we're just open to the feedback that we've kind of received from really everybody that's preceded us in the space, right? We know we don't have all the answers. We're not the best yet. You know what I'm saying? It's a goal, right? But there's people that came before that have already went through, through the ringer. Let's learn from those that came before. So thank you for the advice and stuff that you've given us along the way as well. I know we tried it at several different conventions at this point, so no, we definitely appreciate that, man. is there anything else you want to share with the folks before we close out officially?
Yeah. I mean, I started this company with one book, and it was one single issue, one. And every single year, I brought out a new book because I was writing and drawing it myself, and then started to expand by hiring other artists. As you know, the fan base continued to support what we're doing, and I have a love for passion of comics, love for making stories about Black and brown folks doing cool stuff. And if you guys haven't checked out my books, there's a right now we got a library. We got a bunch of cool books. We got Shattered Visions, our cyberpunk book, where the main character is an anti-hero villain. We've got Joystick Angels, our all-ages space opera, which is a very, very unique book, kind of like an anime style book that's all ages, but it comes with music. It's one of the I think it might be the only comic on the floor that you're going to see in most places that actually comes with a soundtrack built and custom made for the actual book. So we got a volume 1 on that, and then we're dropping volume 2 next year sometime. And we've got Okemos and Okemos Dark History. And then we also have Musa Law and Amali, which we just dropped late last year. It's a historical retelling of the Mansa Musa legend. So we got a bunch of great stuff. Love for you to check it out. It's raecomics.com.
Awesome, man. Oh, this is awesome. So obviously, everybody be sure to tune in, be sure to support. Head on over there. Again, the biggest thing that we all run into is that visibility. It's that visibility, that support on that end. So please, I'm hoping that we are helping in that aspect. Share this with folks, share the breakdown, actually visit at the conventions, get the stuff, man. Like, again, we don't have that Silicon Valley money to back us up. It's really just that passion and the excitement that you guys give us every step of the way that keeps us going. So anywho, thank you guys for tuning in as per normal. This is we're more than halfway done with season 4 of the Indie Breakdown. So if you haven't seen any other previous episodes, head on over to indiebreakdown.com. You'll see an entire host of prior interviews, breakdowns, as well as the database that we're building up. We do have a Facebook group for this as well. You get to meet some of the creators, man. You get to go in there, ask these questions, support these things, and of course, talk trash, talk about how your character is better than the other character, so on and so forth, and really dive into that. So if any of that interests you, again, visit indiebreakdown.com, head on over to the Facebook group. All the links and stuff will be down below. And thank you guys for helping us redefine power scaling in the indie world. In case you guys don't know, last bit here, I created a power scaling system. So you can find that also on indiebreakdown.com. But anyway, more on that another time. Thank you again, TJ, for coming on, man. It's truly an honor, bro. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Yeah.